3, 2, 1. From Rapid City, South Dakota, and the Hardrocker Podcast Network, focusing on stories on and off the playing surface. This is the Hardrocker Huddle.
Welcome into the 37th episode of the Hardrocker Huddle. Today's guest is Megan Alexander, dual sport athlete here at South Dakota Mines, member of the Hardrocker golf and women's basketball teams. Just getting started, you grew up in Freedom, Wisconsin, right?
Yep.
Talk a little bit about what it was like growing up there, your family life, any siblings, anything like that.
Freedom, Wisconsin is a small little town outside of Green Bay. I loved growing up there. I had a really good friend group and support group, and my family life, when I was like, I don't know how old I was, but my parents got divorced when I was pretty young. And I lived with my mom most of the time, saw my dad a good amount still, and they were both really supportive of me in all my athletics because, I wanted to do everything I could. And they just, I don't have any siblings. I'm an only child, which was actually, I didn't mind it. Most people are like, don't really like it or get lonely, but I had a lot of friends and I really kind of enjoyed it. A lot of time to do sports and pursue my passions, which was really nice. Freedom is a really cool small town because everyone in the town kind of bands together and supports the athletics, which for high school was super awesome. Like the atmospheres for games and just the support that all of the programs that I was a part of had was really cool.
Sure. How big is Freedom?
I think the population last time I looked was like 6,000, but my high school was like 500 kids.
So it's pretty small, but it's still kind of close to Green Bay, right? So you kind of get a little bit of a mixture.
Yes, yeah.
Early on in life, I guess, what initially kind of drew you into sports and what made you decide, hey, sports are what I want to do growing up, sports are maybe what I want to pursue as I get older too? Right.
I guess my family's pretty big into sports. Big football fans, Badger fans, Packer fans, the whole thing. I started sports when I was really young, and it's what I like doing. I got into music a little bit, but it was never something that I was like, oh, I want to do this. I just found passion within, sports, played a bunch of different ones, see what I like, what I was good at, and then kept rolling.
Sure. I know obviously you played golf, but that wasn't until later. Early on, I'm sure you played club basketball, high school basketball. What kind of other sports were you involved in?
When I was little, I started off with soccer, t-ball, basketball. Those are the three that everyone that's little does. And then I moved into softball. I played softball all the way up until my freshman year of high school, and then I decided to do track in high school instead. And then I played basketball all throughout. I quit soccer. I'm not the fastest person out there, so it wasn't really the best fit. And I played, just basketball. I played volleyball a little bit in middle school. I played club volleyball, actually, for a couple of years. So in middle school, I was pretty busy because I played club basketball and club volleyball, along with, softball, school ball.
Yeah, that's a lot of travel, a lot of busy weekends.
Yeah, which is also kind of nice being an only child. My parents had time to go with me, which is cool. Yeah.
What was it about basketball, I guess, that kind of made you stick with basketball through your whole career, basically?
Basketball's fun. It's just, as you get older, the pace gets faster, and the game keeps changing, and you have to keep, developing new skills, and I think, it's always a challenge. It's competitive, and I love that. I love to win, and I love to get better at things. So I think basketball just drew me in, and for me, because I was always a tall girl, I didn't grow into my body until I was in 6th, 7th grade. And I started playing club ball when I was in 7th grade. And so club ball, I think, is what really started it. I never got burnt out, which I think says a lot because I played a lot of basketball, right? I played 9 months out of the year for the past 6 years. So I think that just speaks to how much I like it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people do get burnt out.
Yeah.
So if you don't, you're probably pretty passionate about it.
Yeah.
And then once you got into high school, initially you were just basketball and track, but then you got into golf later, right?
Yeah, well, I played volleyball my freshman and sophomore year, so I was 3-sport athlete all 4 years, but I got into golf in the later 2.
Sure. Just talk a little bit about, your high school career. Let's start, I guess, with basketball. What kind of, what are some of your best memories? What are any state tournament runs, any individual accomplishments?
Basketball for me in high school, at Freedom, we had a really successful program. The coaches did a really great job of, starting when we're young. We worked with the varsity coaches. They've been there for a long time. I have a good relationship with both of them. Over winter break, I went to practices. And it's, a really cool, family atmosphere. And so they actually, our varsity coach coached me my 7th and 8th grade year of middle school for tournament ball. And so then we started running, the schemes and stuff that we'd see on varsity. So then they kind of knew what they were getting once we got to high school. And so my freshman year, I was on JV. For most of the year, I played varsity regular season games, twice. I think I played in 2. And then I was pulled up for postseason, so I didn't play, right, but I got to, be there with the team, and so that was really cool. We made a state run that year. We made it to the state tournament. We made it to the semifinals. And Wisconsin's state tournament it's 6 games, and it's single elimination, so you have to keep winning. So it's pretty competitive. And so, semifinals is, top 4 teams in the state, which is at the state tournament, and you play in, the arena. So that was really cool to be a part of. We ended up losing in the semi game, but it was still cool to make it there. And then my sophomore year, I was on varsity the whole year. I think I averaged, 17 minutes or something like that. So I played a good amount. Came in off the bench. That was fun. We actually lost to our rival in postseason, 2 games before state. So that was a hard loss. And that year I was pretty close with the seniors on the team. So that was kind of hard because I just had a good relationship. Our team is always super fun to be a part of.
So did that kind of motivate you then going into the next year?
Yeah. So then the next year, it was COVID. So we had to play with masks, right? But everything kind of ran normal. For school, we went to school 5 days a week in person. And so then, but for basketball, we actually got moved up a division because of the big schools, in Milwaukee area, didn't play because of all the COVID protocol. So that really stunk. So, because, that year we had a really good team. I was starting, and then we had 2 other girls that are playing Division 1 basketball right now, and then 2 others that also started that could be playing college ball. We were a solid team, had a deep bench. We had kind of everything going for us. So if we stayed in the division we're supposed to be in, we would have been pretty solid, I'd say. But we got moved up a division, and it was the game to get to state, right? It's 8 teams left. We lost. Yeah, we lost pretty bad to the team that went on. It was a private school. They went on to win the state championship that year. So that one kind of hurt a little bit. And then, so we were all right, kind of motivated a lot of us to make a run at it the next year, right? So my senior year, we were undefeated in conference. We didn't lose a game until February. We lost to it was a non-conference game. We lost in the last couple seconds to a team that was big, or a school that was bigger than us. But I think it was a good loss for us because we were we don't want to lose again, right? So then we made a state run, made it to the state championship, and then we lost. But a state runner-up senior year, can't really complain about that. It was a good game. Senior year, and then individually, say the team success was just super cool, and I don't know, that's what I like the best. But I think my junior year I was second team all conference. Senior year I was unanimous first team, and then I was first team all state my senior year. So
yeah, so a lot of success, both
yeah.
team and individual in basketball. And then I know in track and field too, I know Wisconsin's a pretty good track state, and you had some success there as well as a thrower.
Yeah, Wisconsin's very competitive for track. The state meet is so fun to be a part of. There's so many people there because they have all 3 divisions. There's only 3 divisions for track in Wisconsin. Boys and girls, all 3 are at the one stadium together. So it's just really big atmosphere, super fun. Track, freshman year I was not very good at it. It was my first year ever doing it. Sophomore year, season, because it's in spring, so our season got canceled due to COVID. So that really sucked. Junior year, kind of before track, I was like, I kind of want to be good at this. So I went to a couple of throwing camps, get the technique down, because throwing is 80% technique, 20% strength, right? So went to that, got the technique down, and then everything for disc really just clicked that year. I was throwing it in the 120s, and then one of my best friends was a senior that year. I was a junior. And she is one of the best to ever throw in the state of Wisconsin. So she broke both school records for shot put and disc. So she was a really great mentor for me. And we just have a really good bond. We still talk to this day. So I qualified for state in disc that year. I think I placed 8th, so I scored a point for a team. She won the state championship for disc. I don't remember how she did in shot. She qualified for both. And then our team that year, we won the state championship. So that was really cool to be a part of. And then my senior year, it was kind of me. I was like the lone wolf thrower. One of my other friends came out just to throw for fun that year. So we had fun, and I had a lot of friends for throwing, which is why I think I enjoyed it so much, because my coach was great. We just had so much fun. But my senior year, I was like, okay, this is kind of my time now. Linnea's gone. So I was throwing the disc really good that year. Qualified for state. In both shot and disc, I wasn't supposed to qualify in shot put, but that was kind of cool to make it. I don't really like shot put. It just never clicked for me, but disc totally did. So I struggled with it. Shot put, I don't know, just mentally I was like, why am I not good at this? I don't know. And then at the state meet, I don't know what I went in ranked, 4th, 3rd maybe? And our team had a shot to win it again, to win the state championship. But we needed performances from, I had to perform in disc to get it. And then, one of my other friends is running Division II track right now. And she needed to perform. There was just kind of a lot of pressure on us upperclassmen. And we did perform, but not as well as we ended up being runner-up as a team. But for me, I took 2nd place. So I was runner-up at the state meet. I made all-state for track. And so to make all-state for track is you just have to be top 5 in the entire state out of anyone that competed there. So I was 2nd in the entire state, so I would have won any other division. That wasn't mine, but that's okay. The girl that beat me is actually just an extreme athlete. She's playing D1 basketball. She's a dog. But and then shot put, I actually made finals, and I showed up and I was ranked 15th. Right, there's 16 people in the field. Top 10 make finals, so I made finals. So that was cool. Didn't score in that, but my disc points really helped the team out, and then we were team runner-up. So, yeah.
So was there just a period where freedom was really good and it just happened to be when you were there, or is that kind of normal for that school to be just really good at athletics?
Freedom's a sports town for sure. Our wrestling program wins state championships, one of the top programs in the state. Our track and field program has been one of the best. My freshman year, I didn't make it to state, but they were also team runner-up, the girls were, and then the boys won state 3 years, in the late, 2018 or 2017 or something like that. So it's a really good running program. Cross-country teams are good. Basketball teams are good. It's just, it's a little sports town with bad facilities, but it doesn't matter.
Then I know you got involved in golf as well. What kind of, so your first 2 years you did volleyball in the fall and then you switched to golf.
Yeah.
What kind of, what made you decide you wanted to give golf a try?
Volleyball at our school is kind of political. The program was never that great. And one of my friends, her and her dad, they kept you would be so good at golf. You have so much power to hit the ball and blah, blah, blah. And they knew I did it really casually, like once every other year probably I'd pick up a club and go play. And they were just like, you should try it. Like, and I was kind of fed up with volleyball, kind of ready to be done. I was like, all right, I'll do it. So then I had clubs. I was like, okay. So then that was COVID summer, was the year I started. And so there's nothing else to do but go outside. So I just go golf every day. I had a membership at the local course, and I had my license, so I could go whenever I wanted, and I just picked up the game. It came pretty naturally to me, being an athlete, and I've had fun with it. So, yeah.
Now going in, obviously you graduated from Freedom. Talk a little bit about, what your kind of recruiting process was like, what other schools you maybe considered, and why was South Dakota Mines ultimately where you chose?
So I played club ball for 5 years, started the summer going into 7th grade or 8th grade, something like that. Mostly I did join AU to contribute to my high school team, just get better at the game. And then the summer going into my freshman year, coaches started showing interest in me, and I was kind of like, what? Never really looked at it. It was never this sounds bad because here I am, but it was never my dream to play college basketball, and then once that started happening, I was like, oh, I could do this. This is kind of this could actually happen for me. So when I was in early stages of high school, I was talking to a bunch of different Division I programs, and then COVID happened, and then they got the extra year of eligibility, so that kind of screwed me over for a lot of places that were talking to me. They just didn't know what they needed, right? And I was on the littler side of a post in Division I, so then Division II recruits later than D1, right? Yep. So I started talking to a bunch of Division II schools, kind of this summer going into my sophomore, junior year. Really kind of picked it back up, the recruiting process. And the recruiting process kind of sucks. It's kind of stressful. You're basically selling yourself to people, and then they're also selling them to you. So it's kind of like a two-way street. I don't know. It's weird. And I always knew I wanted to be an engineer. Just how my brain worked. I was like, science and math, cool. There's a lot of money in engineering. Sure. So I knew that and then I knew chemical engineering is kind of what I want to do. Well, that major's not available at a lot of universities. So then I ended up with 3 offers through the recruiting process, and they were all Division II. Bemidji State University in Minnesota, McKendree University down by St. Louis in Illinois, and then here. So basically what it came down to is money. How much scholarship was I going to get? And then because Bemidji State and McKendree didn't have engineering, so I would get a chemistry degree or a computer science degree, and then I'd have to go to grad school. So the money kind of came down to it, and then here it's chemical engineering, right? A pretty solid offer, and so it just came down to education for me, because it's the rest of my life, right? I can't play basketball for the rest of my life. So I ended up here, and I'm so glad with my decision. I love it here.
Did you wind up visiting all 3 campuses?
I did, yeah. Visited all 3 the summer before my senior year. Yes, the summer before my senior year, I visited all 3. Wait, was it that? Yeah, I don't know. Yes, I visited all 3 campuses, kind of took into account location, and I don't mind being far away from home. I'm pretty independent, so this place felt I came on my visit, and both my parents were they knew that this is where I was gonna pick, just because it felt like the right choice to make. So
it's funny that you mentioned Bemidji. That's actually where I went to school.
Oh, really?
Graduated from.
That's funny.
Usually people have no idea about that school. So
yeah.
It's kind of funny. But then, what is it like being? I guess what I'm curious about is there's obviously not a lot of dual sport athletes, especially D1, D2.
Yeah.
So how did that kind of materialize? How did you kind of decide, and what is that like? Do you get offers from both sports? How does that kind of work?
Yeah, so I actually talked about it with all three schools that I have offers from, because I knew I kind of wanted to keep golfing, because I was so new to the sport, and competitive golf is fun. Like, it's such a mental workout that it's different than basketball, and any of the other sports I really ever played. So I would talk to, like, the basketball coaches and, like, how would you feel about this? Like, would it be possible? Could we make it work? And, like, if they said no, obviously I would have given up golf, but all three schools were actually, like, on board with it. And then here, when I came on my visit, I was on an official visit here, so it was, like, 2 days long, and I talked to Coach Wheeler, and he's like, if you come here and, like, you have a spot if you want to golf. Like, so basically they just offered me, like, an official roster spot because I don't have any money for golf. But, yeah, so they're kind of just like, we can make it work. We'll work with you on your schedule, and, yeah.
And then, once you kind of got here, what was that transition like? I know, obviously, it's a really rigorous academic school,
Yeah.
plus jumping right into golf in the fall and then jumping into basketball.
Yeah.
What was that kind of transition like?
Well, I've always played three sports in high school, and in high school I took, like, AP classes and stuff. So I was pretty good at time management, but it's still different coming to college, right? You're on your own. I don't have my mom there to manage my schedule or whatever. So, came to school. Golf started, like, August 30th or something, but we started preseason basketball, like, after the first week of school. So we got the first week to settle into classes, and then we jumped right in. So for me, golf is, because it's such an individual sport, like, we don't have to practice as a team. So I could just go to the course after pregame practice, or after preseason workouts, and hit balls, go to the greens, whatever. And then with classes, my schedule last semester wasn't too difficult. I mean, it was harder than high school for sure, but I wasn't drowning in schoolwork yet. So I'm curious to see how that, like, next semester, my third semester, might be a little bit more difficult. But the transition was good. Like, I think I did fine with it. Basketball, I went to all the basketball stuff. And then for golf, like, I didn't have to do the golf lifts or whatever because I was doing basketball lifts. And Coach Wheeler's like, if you're in shape to play basketball, you're in shape to play golf. So, and then I only played in 2 tournaments out of the 4. So it was not bad at all.
So were you practicing both pretty regularly? Or
Yeah.
were you kind of just focusing on golf until that season? Or how did that work, I guess?
My main focus is actually still basketball, just because that's the sport. That's where the money's coming from, right? So I would go to all the basketball. We have preseason workouts 5 days a week, which is, like, basketball individuals, and then we have, like, team practices, and then lift 3 days a week. So I'd go to most of that. The only reason I ever missed one was for a tournament, if I was in a tournament. And then golf practice, I would just go at, like, night usually because it didn't get dark till later. So I could go after a lift or whatever. So a lot of times I'd be, like, putting on my golf clothes in the basketball locker room, getting ready to go. It was, yeah. So I would go to the golf course probably, like, 4 days a week. Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a busy life you have.
Yeah.
Outside of that stuff, what do you kind of do for a hobby? What do you like to do when and if you do have any free time?
In the beginning of the year, we were outside all the time. We would just we'd go on hikes sometimes. As a team, we'd go swimming different places. The Black Hills are beautiful. I'm a very outdoorsy person, so we would, me and Lexi, my roommate, we'd always be doing something. In the beginning of the school year, there's always a lot of stuff to do on campus because everyone's kind of new, so getting oriented, and I don't know, it was just, we found stuff to do. We always doing something. We weren't in our room that much, especially when it was nice out.
Yeah.
Just so much good stuff to do in the Black Hills. We went camping one weekend. Just, yeah, kept ourselves busy.
Busier than you already were.
Yeah. Well, I can't sit still very long. I'm not good at that.
Well, it's good that you're doing that. Because it's, for anybody, it's not the most healthy thing to always be
Right.
doing schoolwork and always be doing,
Yeah, need mental
so
breaks.
you need to have some sort of hobby or whatever it is that keeps your mental health good.
Yep.
Especially as a freshman.
Yeah.
Getting used to it and everything. So you're a chemical engineering major. You kind of already talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
But what was it about chemical engineering specifically that you kind of knew you wanted to do?
I took chemistry in high school my sophomore year, and then AP Chem my junior year, and I was like, I really like this stuff. Like, I'm good at it. It's fun. I don't know, it's kind of weird to say chemistry's fun, but it was. And then I was like, math. I like math. I'm good at math. Put the two together, get chemical engineering, and then I kind of like looked into like what you can do with chemical engineering, and you can go anywhere with it, really. Everywhere kind of needs one. There's always materials. There's always something that would be useful for it. And then being a woman in STEM, there's a lot of other opportunities too that kind of come through just because of that. And then being an athlete, I don't know, it was just kind of sounded fun. It's hard. It'll be hard, but I think I can do it.
What does that mean to you to be a woman in STEM?
I don't know, it's kind of fun. Like, I like, girl power. Yeah. I think it's rewarding because we're a minority, and so like we can do everything the same, right? Yep. So I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah. Have you been a part of any not off campus, but extracurricular activities so far? Have you gotten involved in anything, community stuff, anything yet? Are you too busy right now?
Not too much. I mean, we've done a little bit of volunteering with like athletics, but I haven't gotten super involved in campus stuff. I just, like in the beginning of the year, I was just making friends. Sure. So.
Is that something you think you'd be interested in eventually once, later in your...
Yeah, the hard thing is, like, time. Like, I don't want to overload myself with anything. And, like, when there's something I see that I want to do, I'll just go join in or whatever. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. And then, again, you're early, so maybe you don't know yet, but ideal world, what do you think you would want to do with your career once you graduate?
There are a lot of different options. My dream job is to work for NASA. Like, I love space. Total geek about that stuff. Actually, last weekend there's like I looked out the bus window. I was like, guys, look, it's a full moon on a road trip, and everyone's like, just like made fun of me for it. So that would be really cool. Like working with like fuels or something like that. Otherwise, petroleum and like that stuff is pretty interesting to me, and everything in our world kind of goes based off of petroleum, right? Oil. It's in everything, whether you want it to be or not. So, I don't know, there's lots of different stuff, but those are the two main ones that I'm interested in for sure.
Sure. So we've gotten to know you a little bit, obviously, but let's talk a little bit about the team.
Yeah.
What have you seen in growth from the basketball team from, when you stepped on campus to now?
So much growth with everybody. We had so many new people this year, and I think that that's always a learning curve. You have to learn, like being a newbie, we have to learn the new system, right? How coach is going to coach us, what's expected of us, how things run, our systems, our schemes. And then obviously the upperclassmen have to get used to us because there's so many of us. So that definitely, with such a long preseason, I think that helped a lot. And then in games, I think like we've made a lot of improvement on our offense and how we preach defense a lot, and I think our defense it's pretty solid. We just get burned kind of when we turn the ball over on offense, and then we have no defense when they're going, like no transition defense if we turn it over at the top of the key or whatever. So I think that in the last even like 2 weeks, we've made so much improvement on that and how our offense flows and our specials and just all that stuff, which is super important. And our team chemistries, it's good. It's getting better. But like as a team, we all get along. We have fun together. We encourage each other, and it's fun to be a part of. I really like it, especially because in high school we were such a close-knit team, and to come into a school where, like, we're all close again, like, they're my friends, like, they're my best friends right now, you know? So that's fun. I think, yeah, main improvement is just offensively taking care of the ball and running our plays, executing.
And obviously, it was nice to get a win on Saturday.
Yeah.
How do you kind of take that momentum and carry it over into this weekend? And then, I guess, what do you hope to do the rest of the season?
Yeah. So the beginning of the season was rough, 2022. And then turned over the new year, and we're like, new team, new us, right? So then I think to get a win last weekend really showed us that, like, we can pull out, like, we're a good team, we're talented. If we work together, like, we can be great. There's no reason we shouldn't be right now. So I think we have the momentum, like, we're ready to work. Last week's practices were hard, like, we had to push through them, our bodies were tired, right? And then we get to that Saturday game and our bodies are tired, and we pushed through it, got a win, which was really cool. So I think that we have the momentum. We know we can do it. So hopefully this weekend some good things happen.
And back at home again.
Yeah.
Kind of nice. It's been a month or so.
It's been a while. Yeah. Hopefully we get a good crowd. Students are back. It'll be cool.
All right. I don't think I have anything else for you, Megan, unless you have anything else you want to add.
No.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been the Hardrocker Huddle. My name is Josh Van Valkenburg-Gernert, signing off.